Actually, it's really interesting. Some people say about my property portfolio and had that first property that did, did very well, had no growth for 10 years. And they actually say,
Yeah.
do you have any regrets about it? I go, zero regrets, because it's taught me so many lessons. And maybe if I realized what I did at first, then yeah, it would have been a different story. But it taught me so much.
Well, it's shaped you who you are today, right? So there's a couple of things in that. Firstly, you can't change what's happened, okay? So you've got to be able to rationalise that. I talk that I had some early success with property investing. Then I had some catastrophic failures. I bought an ice cream cafe. That was a catastrophic failure. It tasted terrific, but it was a catastrophic failure. But it shaped me to who I am today, and I can't go and change that. What I can do is pick out the lessons. I don't focus on these sorts of things anymore. I used to. It used to really eat me up inside. But I would pick out the lessons and then use that. Always eating the ice cream, mate. But
no, what eats you up inside? Was it the ice cream eating you up inside, or your thoughts?
I know what you meant, smart ass. I know what you meant.
I just love everyone. I just love to fire Tony up. It's the best.
So it's about we've all had our own fair share of catastrophic failures. That is, pick out the things from that. What can you learn from that? It's shaped you to who you are today. You cannot change it from this moment forward at 10:30 or whatever it is on a Sunday morning. That's what you've got the opportunity to change.
It's fantastic.
Take the learnings, move forward.
Our last point that we wanted to talk about today is about focusing on the solution and not the problem. Tony, throw it out there for people. What do they need to do?
Well,
sorry, just lost you a minute there for a second there, Tony. Tony.
Expand.
Okay, sorry, Tony, we just lost you for a short time. Can you repeat that from the start in terms of the solution and the problem?
Mate, what I was saying is that what a lot of people will focus on the problem, and what you focus on expands. And so if you focus on a problem, focus on something bad, focus on something negative, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And so you're not able to find the solution. And I use that as an example for me this week. I've had a challenging week just trying to sort out some financial bits and pieces. And there was a moment this week when I was focusing on the problem, and I had to give myself a boot in the bum to get me to focus on the solution and come up with some creative solutions that I haven't still yet solved what I need to, but I'm working my way forward. But earlier in this week, I was really down on myself, and I'm human, right? And it happens, and I've got to remind myself to focus on the solution, not on the problem, because I could feel myself drifting into the problem. And then I caught myself and said, well, that is just not serving what I need to do. I need to be focused on what I need to get done. And we can reflect in time and go, well, how do we let ourselves get into that situation? How could I improve? But I'll do that. I'll do a post-mortem later. But right now, I've got to be able to focus on the solution. Sorry, my boy's just going off to his day job.
Excellent.
He works at Hungry Jack's.
Fantastic.
So the burgers are better. Yeah.
Good to see that hustle going on within the family as well. So
absolutely.
I guess that's a big thing for us in terms of what we do each and every day. Like both of us experience these things. Like you said, Tony, we're both human, and even though we practice this all day, we're faced with these challenges all the time. So we have to constantly, things come up, and immediately the thought process is, I think the way the human being works is, the problem comes up, and then that's all we can see. But it's how quickly we respond to that problem, focus on that solution, like you say, that can get us on a better path, I believe. I guess that you agree with that as well.
Yeah, I do. It's all about focus in the direction that you want to go. And so the solution takes you in a forward direction. It gets you out. If you imagine that you're in quicksand, right, you don't want to be focusing on the quicksand. You want to be focusing on how do I, pull on the rope and get myself out. What's that solution to get me out of the quicksand? And keep focusing on that. Always focus in the direction you want to go. What happens is when we dwell on the past, we focus backwards. When we focus on the problem, we focus backwards. It's 100% a car crash.
So you actually look at the car that's coming rather than the direction you want to turn your car into, and then you so focus on that car that you end up hitting that car rather than focusing on that direction you want to go.
Absolutely, and that's incorrect. If you imagine, if you're looking at something over there, you sort of start to steer towards it. The other analogy to use a car, Luke, is around the rear view mirror. You don't drive the car looking in the rear view mirror, but yet so many of us spend our life looking in the rear view mirror. We're looking backwards, we're looking behind us, and all that we can see behind us is a trailer load full of shit, right? And so what we need to do is we need to look in a forwards direction to where we want to get to. Keep looking out the front of the car, the windscreen, and go in the direction that you want. And again, it's easy for me to say that, but these are the things that at the end of every day, get your pen and your paper out and just reflect and just reflect and just reflect and just start. And I use the analogy of crawl, walk, run. Just start to write things down at the end of the day. How did I behave? How did I act? How did I think? How did I feel? Just start to write those things down. You're going to become more and more conscious with it. A great example is, to use the car, is when someone cuts you off. How do we respond? We get into that autopilot. We get into the autopilot.
It happens all the time. It's actually so terrible about people doing that on a constant basis. But how does that serve anyone?
We're in autopilot, right? So a lot of people, I have sympathy for people because they're in autopilot. That is, they've done something their whole life and they're not able to, they don't recognize they're doing it half the time, right? It's just an automatic response. This is where you got to note that down, you got to reflect on it, and then you want to lift that response from being in your subconscious to your conscious. And when you've got something in your conscious mind, then you have a choice. You still can act in that particular way, but you have a choice. You can either choose to act in that particular negative way, or you can choose to go, you know what? Is it really serving me honking the horn, flipping the bird, swearing at that person? Or you know what, it's going to add another 10 seconds to my journey. I'm listening to a lovely podcast, a Search Party Property podcast, and I'm just going to relax and enjoy that on my drive into the city.
Absolutely. And I actually respond in a way when someone cuts me off is like, oh, what a great move. Did well, reflect on it in a different way. You give yourself a different response, right?
Of course you do, but you're relaxed about it, right? So I don't really do anything, to be honest. It doesn't really...
cheer it, mate.
Whatever.
Clap. So good.
Who's that, sorry?
I just clap it, mate. I go, well done. Good move. Oops,
you are a unique individual. So,
got a bit excited there. I lost my headphones. Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's okay. But it's all about get conscious with your thoughts, and you get conscious with your thoughts by writing things down at the end of the day. Reflect. Do it for the next 7 days. Now, I'd love people to come back in 7 days' time and give us an update. There's a bit of homework. Maybe we should do some homework. I'm on another live on a Tuesday
not give
night.
People homework.
We gave people some homework.
Let's not give them people
homework in the...
Just think about, just think about those three key points, really. That's what it's about. If we can just reflect, spend some time thinking, maybe if you want to go to the next ascent and write things down, obviously Tony would be very loving that you do that. And any homework that you can do for yourself is beneficial. Just don't want to put that burden on people to go, yes, this is what...
No, but I also want people to change, Luke,
Yes.
And so I want people to do... These are things that might take 3 to 5 minutes. I'm not asking you to spend hours doing this stuff. That's not what I'm about. It's about do some small things just to start to change, because if you don't change and you expect a different result, what's that?
You're not going to get it.
It's insanity.
So
it's insanity.
Just for the...
Right, the definition of insanity.